Special month, big month, and the starting pistol fired on a month of rugby reckoning. Scotland and the USA in their own different ways today on the trail of history. The American women have been doing special things of late, pulling up trees at the Rugby World Cup down in England at sevens level, winning Olympic bronze just last year in Paris. Now the men seeking an upset that would reverberate around the rugby world. First line out throw for Paddy Harrison. First touch as a test player for Liam McConnell. And Jack Dempsey, who made 23 carries on his comeback from a 7-month injury layoff against the Bulls for Glasgow. Dobie digging it out. McConnell out the back towards Hastings. Dobie, Darcy Ray, first test start for the Edinburgh man today. Marshall Sykes looking for his first Scotland try. A fumble from Harrison, but he regathers possession. And Dobie, Scotland again looking to probe. Out the back, Hastings, Smith straightening up. Here's Kyle Roll, McConnell's on his outside. Duhan van der Merwe on the inside. He went for the half-centurion instead of the debutant. And van der Merwe, of all people, coughs it up. The USA try to run out of trouble, but we're going to have to go back for the knock-on. Rory John, a frenetic first 90 seconds of Quilter Nations Series rugby.
Yeah, good evening, Jamie. And an early opportunity. That's an opportunity gone for Scotland down that left flank. Gregor Townsend will be frustrated. He will have rolled out the red carpet to welcome this USA Eagles team here to Murrayfield for the first time in an awful long time. And that man in picture there will be delighted to bring his team there. But Scotland will look to be clinical from the get-go, and that was an opportunity that presented itself, John.
Yeah, absolutely it was. I think they worked their face as well. You could see relative ease holding onto the ball, and actually some of the lessons they might learn there. I thought USA defended well, but actually just when there wasn't much on, managing to jam in on the edge. So whether Adam Hastings, whether Stafford McDowell, Ollie Smith have seen that, hold on to the ball, there will be space in the wide channels based upon that, you'd assume.
Crowds!
Scotland's scrum was not exactly a weapon during Six Nations Championship. Last time we saw them at so-called Tier 1 level, just the one penalty won, 10 of them conceded.
Just make sure we don't start pushing before the ball is in, okay? Stability after the set. Let's go.
USA missing a few heavyweights from their own front row. Likes of David Ainu'u, the Toulouse prop, not released for this fixture, falling as it does outside of the World Rugby International window. So it's Ezekiel Lindemuth who's going to cap for Samoa, anchoring the scrum on this near side against Darcy Ray. Caleb Geiger in for Capelli Pifoletti, who's playing his rugby in France with Montauban. And an early test of this slightly new-look Eagles front row. A test they fail. Scotland penalty.
I thought that could have possibly gone the other way. Well, he's gone for collapsing. It looked like I thought Scotland maybe gone round the outside of the scrum, but I was just about to say America doing a good job of holding the scrum, holding it square, but the secondary shove came on. Darcy Ray will be delighted with that. Paddy Harrison, Roy Sutherland up front, getting that early penalty, getting another entry into the 22 and further access.
In among some of the fans prior to this game, just, you know, they were asking about score predictions and so on, but also the statement of intent for Scotland. Kickable penalty, but also one whereby you might look to go for the corner, but clear a message come through. Rory Sutherland, Paddy Harrison, Darcy Ray fancy their chances in this scrum. They've just steamrollered the USA scrum on their own put-in, and now it's Scotland's opportunity to strike here and strike hard.
As tantalising as positions on a rugby pitch get. Penalty advantage milked. Dempsey running hard into Ruben de Haas and Hilsenbeck. Rolling to within a metre. Scotland go blind and Scotland score. And it's Dylan Richardson back from injury with number 7 on his back. 4.5 minutes on the clock. Deadlock splintered in Edinburgh.
Yeah, you got to say, and it's pretty straightforward. Opted to go for the scrum. Got the arm out from the referee. One pick from Jack Dempsey that was strong. And just Dylan Richardson picks up the remnants of that USA scrum. We're still tangled up in the scrum as it played out. You see here, though, it all comes from a first dominant tackle. Good clear out by Jamie Dobie. And just too slow to fold the American team there.
And John, you know better than most, when the defensive scrum's up against it, you back rowers are told you've got to scrummage before you think about defending. As you said, the penalty advantage went Scotland's way. It gave Jack Dempsey the opportunity to climb into Ruben de Haas and Chris Hilsenbeck, the two USA halfbacks. And that was just physics. And from there, Richardson quick in for a quick ball, pick and dive over. Adam Hastings adds the two extras off the back of it. It's been a solid start from Scotland, and one score from the two opportunities that presented themselves.
Yeah, you'd imagine the messaging would be very clear, walking back to halfway.
Restart claim by Ollie Smith. Spent 13 months out of professional rugby with a serious knee injury. Most recent cap coming on the summer tour against Samoa, Fiji, New Zealand, Maori. Before that, didn't play for Scotland since the World Cup in 2023. What can the USA do from deep? Eric Storty, young in experience, if not age, coughed up, and Liam McConnell. Let's see the young man's pace. Is this the debut of his dreams? Oh, he's got the skills as well. The young globetrotter has Murrayfield in the palm of his dinner plate-sized hands. And he finds the half-century in the record try-scorer, who racks up score number 33 in the blue and pink of Scotland.
Sensational stuff. It just came quick turnover ball here. Ball dislodged in the tackle. Jamie Dobie just identifies the space straight away. Look at this by Liam McConnell. The pace. Pins his ears back, goes to the corner, and Yeo just thinks, there you go, sunshine. You're the youngster, you're the 50 kappa. Dot it down. A row reversal, but that basketball pass, it is gorgeous stuff from Liam McConnell. Just showing his wherewithal. It's just great to see the celebrations pointing over it. You're welcome, Duhan. You're welcome.
Two from two for Adam Hastings. Scotland on to 14 points.
Yeah, lovely start from Liam McConnell there. Ball just presented itself to him. I just love the confidence. Just the one-handed offload pre-tackle. Something the Scotland team work on a lot. Those skills, basketball passing, how you get the ball in narrow channels, especially in the wide channels, keep that ball alive. Just the confidence to do it on your first cap, 8 minutes in, and then to be able to execute as well. What a great moment for him.
Scotland do tend to start matches quickly under Gregor Townsend. Scored the majority of their Six Nations points this year inside the opening 20 minutes. As the periods thereafter, particularly just after half-time, where the tables were turned, the pendulum swung.
Just interesting already seeing a slight difference with the Scotland team under Lee Radford. A lot of last year they kicked to compete, whether it's just for this match or going to be a theme that comes up, kicking the ball long, back in their chase. We see a lot of top sides do that.
Dobie again probing that short side. Little dummy from Hastings. Dobie chasing the USA back three to their own 22. Mitch Wilson's got a bit of work to do here. Toby Fricker alongside him. Bristol Bear ransacked. Dempsey gets onto him. Scotland get hands on ball. Scotland again sensing some weakness, some frailties in the USA breakdown. Richardson has pilfered it back for the home team through Helu. Before facing Romania. Embarked on their first ever unbeaten November tour last year. Wins against some of the tier 2 teams on the circuit. And they lost 150 caps of experience to retirements. Scotland through Dobie kicking out on the full, and the USA will have their first chance to get hands on ball. See this Graham try again.
Yeah, we're just seeing the very last here. Adam Hastings thought about the cross-fielder, I think, there, but back to his left-handed pass, straight into the bread basket of Darcy Graham. But just the first error there from Scotland. Jamie Dobby just going straight out from a box kick, giving the USA their first meaningful platform to strike from.
Penalty at worst here for the USA.
White pink collapsing.
Yeah, and this is something that will really frustrate Gregor Townsend. Scott Cummings gets pinged there for a clear infringement, pulling them all down. This is something I feel that's been an Achilles heel for Scotland through the Six Nations, certainly. Just that ability to concede needless penalties. And you get the feeling, yes, it probably won't count against them this evening against the USA, but you just look at the impact it has on where a team's attacking. Yeah, just outside your 22, relatively comfortable. Now you're defending a 5-metre line out where the very best teams in the world would expect to score here.
Conceding 11 penalties a game this year, Scotland. It's a figure Gregor Townsend will be concerned about, as Caleb Geiger looks to hit double top. A Redling Hayes takes, and the USA look to shift the drive round to the front. Scotland crabbing them towards the touchline. Geiger and Helu at the back. Couple of metres in it. The ball cocooned in there somewhere.
I'm not sure this ball is coming out, Jamie.
Match ball, we're not going to see it.
No.
Scottish scrum.
Yeah, USA tried to shift drive around the front, which is a nice option. He played to the front, all the impacts coming from the back of the line out, used the momentum of the Scottish defence, piling in to actually propel you forward, but the risk you have is that transfer at the front. The ball's stuck right at the front, and you've got Scottish hands all over it, tie up the ball, and all you've got to do is wait for that referee call there to call the turnover.
There didn't look to be much panic, certainly within Scotland, even as they went backwards. You could almost tell that they had wrapped that ball up, and that even if the ball went over the line, Scotland were going to end up in possession. John, you referenced it. Whilst today may be the stepping stone to the All Blacks next week, there are bigger challenges to come, but Gregor Townsend will be hot on every moment, won't there? And there'll be new players, the more experienced players expected to start next week, but every opportunity, this is a huge opportunity for so many of these young guys to come in and prove themselves, and it's moments like this, just where the pressure's on a little bit, that they'll really be tested.
Yeah, absolutely. Scotland will expect to win and will well, but Gregor Townsend, as astute a coach he is in the detail, the players will be looking to be as close to perfect as they can, not just in their execution but also their decision making. We know there's going to be space out there this evening compared to possibly other tier 1 nations, but their decision making, their execution, how they perform under pressure.
Would Jamie Dobie be in your matchday 23 next week? Johnny's had a blistering start to the season.
I think he would be. I think he offers something just that slightly different. Him and George Hunt can both cover wing. He's got slightly more experience, having played on the wing more regularly. I think his kicking game, his running game, his passing game, he's got a lot to add to this team, and Ben White's the definite incumbent in that number 9 jersey. But I think Jamie Dobie just offers something just that bit different.
Paddy Ryan, number 8 for the Eagles, sets the platform. And Daniel comes around the corner, all action. Open side flanker from the Old Glory Club in DC. And then Rory Sutherland takes out De Haas, who doesn't stand on ceremony. Ryan, lovely hands, Basag floats it out towards Boney. Might have drifted forwards, it did. And from green shoots for the USA, it's all come to a halt.
Yeah, and the bait was just put in front of Rory Sutherland, couldn't help himself from going in on the scrum half. Ruben De Haas, he went quick, and from there, that was the killer pass. Good read on the outside. I didn't think it might have been Kyle Rowe or Ollie Smith just jamming in on that final defender, trying to put the pressure under it, and the ball did go forward from Basag to Boney, the former Italian international, now USA international. Opportunity there, and Scotland just caught off guard that little bit.
A few dual internationals in this team. Dominic Basag, not one of them, still just 21 years of age, still playing college rugby. It's not yet been picked up by an MLR franchise. That will happen once he completes his studies at St. Mary's in California. One of the brightest young lights in American rugby right now.
Okay, time off. Boys, listen. Boys, listen. Come. We couldn't be playing the scrums properly, okay? You need to take responsibility. Stability after the set, we wait for the ball. It's clear? It's clear? Let's go. Time back on.
First time at test match level that all of the punters here, as well as you guys watching at home, can hear what Damian Schneider is saying to the players. The referee communications broadcast in stadium, just to improve the fan understanding, make sure that people know exactly what he or she is thinking and seeing, and ultimately the verdicts that are meted out.
Bind. Set. Okay, use it. Use it. Ball side down here.
Scotland not set up to kick immediately here. Jack Dempsey soaking up the tackles. And Dobie to Ollie Smith, whose left boot is the tool Scotland used to extricate themselves. And the USA taking it quickly through Wilson and Storty and Toby Fricker, Prem veteran and URC veteran, the Bristol Bears and the Ospreys. Vili Helu, son of Roy, a 1987 World Cup player with the Eagles. De Haas, Hilsenbeck, Fricker. Attacking set for the visitors. Redlinghuis, born in Klerksdorp, the north of South Africa. Hilsenbeck, Boney puts boot to ball, trickling it into the 22 where Kyle Rowe is waiting. Rowe assessing his options, skipping beyond Boney, looking for some soft shoulders. Eventually Scribe, but Scotland come again. Hastings sees plenty of unguarded Edinburgh turf back there. Mitch Wilson, the Australia-born back three man.
Stop.
Darcy Graham, just feel that little frisson of excitement when he gets paws on ball. McDowell offering himself on the switch run. Ball's been in play a long time here. There will be some forward sucking and great lungfills of firework-filled Edinburgh air. Clever from Dobie. How's the bounce? Graham's onto it. Might not need the support. Has it from his scrum half. Working hard and skipping clear. A beauty from Scotland. Jamie Dobie under the bar in front of the South Stands. And a fourth try for the heavyweight hosts.
Yeah, you talk about playing through the defence, but the defensive line in place there for the USA, but Jamie Dobie identifies that there's a little bit left in behind. Cute chip over the top. Darcy Graham would have given him the call off the back of that, but it was the pace of Jamie Dobie after the kick, not just to stand and admire it, but to get after it. He was straight on it. The accelerator hit, catching up with Darcy Graham, getting in line with him, and getting on the end of that assist from the Scotland winner. Wonderful score.
And that's what Darcy Graham does so well. You almost sense the excitement in the stadium when he gets the ball. Everyone knows him for his dazzling runs, his try scoring, but actually it's a lot of the work and his vision that he does often around the ball. He's always looking for the ball, but his understanding of where space is, his ability to communicate the right call. And then there's a well-weighted kick by Jamie Dobie. The link play from Darcy Graham as well.
Beautiful pass as well. You know, it would have been easy for Darcy to tuck it and try and round the last man. Pass right in front of Jamie Dobie. He didn't have to break stride, didn't have to check at all. Darcy celebrating in the background, knowing that he had done his bit. But as you said, John, just the vision of Darcy to see that, call it. Jamie Dobie executes the skill brilliantly. Try scored. Scotland's fourth already.
Ollie Smith under another USA restart, and this time finds the sanctuary of the East touchline, Scottish Gas Murrayfield. USA Eagles, by the way, embarking on a big, bold project, Project Moonshot they're calling it, after the space race back in the 60s, JFK and Neil Armstrong, America versus Russia, all that stuff I read about in the history books. The USA's moonshot is to reach a semi-final at their home Rugby World Cup in 2031. Scott Lawrence said he's been ridiculed for such a lofty ambition, but he, his players, believe absolutely in what they're doing. a lot of the guys who carry them to that ultimate ambition haven't yet been capped, but they're very excited about the next crop who are coming through behind those on show today. Ruben de Haas, one of their more experienced and illustrious players, with a hand of acknowledgement after punting that out on the full. And there is Scott Lawrence, architect of Project Moonshot. Plenty food for thought. Was actually inspired. Wales, 28-all draw, 2001. He was here working and playing in England. Tom Smith, the late great prop, with a fabulous try to tie things up for the Scots. Cummings pulling it back for Hastings. Van der Merwe hungry for more. Kyle Rowe, Graham on his outside. Van der Merwe on the inside. Storty in a very uncompromising position. Both wingers ransack him. Gianluca Gnecchi, the assistant referee, keeps his flag down. And Paddy Ryan brings it away for the United States. County Clare born number 8.
Okay, now in use it, please. Last foot, boy, last foot.
Yeah, I just wonder if they could have kept the ball in hand here. Kyle Rowe obviously did all the manipulation. Duhan van der Merwe links well. I just wonder if Kyle Rowe could have bounced out one extra defender and put Darcy Graham into some space. As it is, they pinned them back, did well to keep their discipline. And actually they get an attacking line out just outside the USA 22 now. But really well worked in midfield. Lots of options coming at the line. And good link play by Duhan van der Merwe.
Harrison finds Cummings. And the USA bring that maul down illegally. Free shot for Scotland. McDowell missing it to Graham. And Rowe, who keeps his feet. Van der Merwe, 1 against 2. Big fella takes those odds. And how? A classic of the genre from Duhan van der Merwe, bouldering his way past flailing American arms and in for his second of the night.
Yeah, USA really struggling defensively to make good reads at the line. Scotland are throwing multiple options. See the big wide pass here to McDowell. The ball out the back with Hastings, the decoy, and Darcy Graham as the link player. But again, they know the damage is done in the midfield. Duhan van der Merwe runs over the top. But all the problems stemming from USA's inability to make good reads at the line on this Scottish attack.
Yeah, skill execution. And for the USA at the moment, you mentioned it, John, it's the defensive reads, and those ones whereby you jam in on, you've got to get man and ball. And they may be used to playing just that little level down whereby that pass that Darcy Graham executed there doesn't get away, and they get the man and ball and they don't get into the outside channel. But on this occasion, Darcy gets it through the hands. Duhan van der Merwe needs no second invite. Even if it's a 2-on-1 against him, he backs himself there. Just the power of the man against Toby Fricker, bumping him off, having got round Bonnie. And from there, dots down for his second of the afternoon.
Rory, we're seeing Scotland's wingers linking up a lot, finding the opportunity to get hands on ball in the same side of the field, the same areas of the pitch. People watching this might assume they're going to be on opposite touchlines, but Scotland are finding ways to get their danger man as many touches as possible.
I think that's one of the key things in rugby, isn't it? Is get your danger men on the ball more of the time. And I think certainly Duhan may have been criticised historically for not working to get in possession enough of the time, waiting for the ball to come to him. But I think it's an area that Gregor Townsend will have focused an awful lot on. And Darcy Graham in particular works off his wing all the time. On that occasion, it was a preset move. He knew that Adam Hastings was a decoy. That pulled in one defender, gave Darcy a one-on-one, and he managed to get his hands, the ball through his hands into the outside channel. But yeah, I think two of Scotland's most dangerous players have to be around the ball, and particularly if they're both near the ball, then you've got 3 or 4 defenders have to stay alive.
Chris Elsenbeck sends it into the night sky in Edinburgh. Wilson gives chase. Hastings wins it for Scotland, and then Tumble turns his way out of a couple. Darcy Graham again, like a magnet for that rugby ball tonight. Hastings injecting the tempo. McDowell throws the dummy, and a great chasm open. Coming here, his first test match as a fan was Scotland against Wales, 28-all draw, 2001. He was here working and playing in England. Tom Smith, the late great prop, with a fabulous try to tie things up for the Scots. Cummings pulling it back for Hastings. Van der Merwe hungry for more. Kyle Rowe, Graham on his outside, Van der Merwe on the inside. Storty in a very uncompromising position. Both wingers ransack him. Gianluca Nyeki, the assistant referee, keeps his flag down. And Paddy Ryan brings it away for the United States. County Clare born, number 8.
Okay, now in use it, please. Last foot, boy, last foot.
Yeah, I just wondering if they could have kept the ball in hand here. Kyle Rowe obviously did all the manipulation. Duhan van der Merwe links well. I just wonder if Kyle Rowe could have bounced out one extra defender and put Darcy Graham into some space. As it is, they pinned them back, did well to keep their discipline. And actually they get an attacking line out just outside the USA 22 now. But really well worked in midfield. Lots of options coming at the line. And good link play by Duhan van der Merwe.
Addison finds Cummings. And the USA bring that maul down illegally. Free shot for Scotland. McDowell missing it to Graham. And Rowe, who keeps his feet. Van der Merwe, 1 against 2. Big fella takes those odds. And how? A classic of the genre from Duhan van der Merwe, bouldering his way past flailing American arms and in for his second of the night.
Yeah.
At the moment, you mentioned it, John, it's the defensive reads, and those ones whereby you jam in on, you've got to get man and ball, and they may be used to playing just that little level down whereby that pass that Darcy Graham executed there doesn't get away, and they get the man and ball and they don't get into the outside channel. But on this occasion, Darcy gets it through the hands. Duhan van der Merwe needs no second invite. Even if it's a 2-on-1 against him, he backs himself there. Just the power of the man against Toby Fricker, bumping him off, having got round Bonnie, and from there dots down for his second of the afternoon.
Rory, we're seeing Scotland's wingers linking up a lot, finding the opportunity to get hands on ball in the same side of the field, the same areas of the pitch. People watching this might assume they're going to be on opposite touchlines, but Scotland are finding ways to get their danger man as many touches as possible.
I think that's one of the key things in rugby, isn't it, is get your danger men on the ball more of the time. And I think certainly Duhan may have been criticised historically for not working to get in possession enough of the time, waiting for the ball to come to him. But I think it's an area that Gregor Townsend will have focused an awful lot on. And Darcy Graham in particular works off his wing all the time. On that occasion, it was a preset move. He knew that Adam Hastings was a decoy. That pulled in one defender, gave Darcy a one-on-one, and he managed to get his hands, the ball through his hands into the outside channel. But yeah, I think two of Scotland's most dangerous players have to be around the ball, and particularly if they're both near the ball, then you've got 3 or 4 defenders have to stay alive.
Chris Elsenbeck sends it into the night sky in Edinburgh. Wilson gives chase. Hastings wins it for Scotland, and then Tumble turns his way out of a couple. Darcy Graham again, like a magnet for that rugby ball tonight. Hastings injecting the tempo. McDowell throws the dummy, and a great chasm open.
They play more tier 1 nations, so the boys can see, you know, what we're in for going to the World Cup. So this is an unbelievable experience, and we're going to take a lot away from this, you know, and hopefully, you know, put that to good use over the next 2 weeks.
Blake, thank you for being so generous with your time. Best of luck.
Thank you so much.
Blake Bradford, the scrum coach for the USA, sharing his perils with us. USA in the middle of that, making a change, by the way. You might have seen Tabite Lopati coming on to the back line. And Ezekiel Lindemuth battling forth, winning the penalty advantage for the Eagles. De Haas changing the point of the attack, put it in a kick behind Duan van der Merwe, and the USA will need that penalty.
Yeah, another needless penalty from Scotland. Yeah, the score is 40-0, but these are the exact type of things that Gregor Townsend, Lee Radford and the coaching side just won't be happy with, especially an offside penalty. We saw one in the line out, pulling the line out down. We've seen there the stats coming up, 4 penalties to 1. When you consider that Scotland have had almost all the ball, these are things that the leadership group, Gregor Townsend and his team won't be happy with, I don't think.
Time off, they can't change the boots here.
Right, Paddy Ryan needs his boots changed, we hear over the referee's mic. One of the guys that the Eagles are particularly excited about, big number 8, missing a few from that area of the pitch today. Ben Bonasso, who's captained them early in the year, not available tonight. Jamison Fatanana Schultz as well, big player for them, neither fit or available for this out of international window. USA 7 from 7 at line-out time. And Caleb Geiger nails it to red line ace. Third time they've been in the 22 of the Scots, yet to trouble the scoreboard. Geiger with his muscular quadriceps, blood dripping from his head. De Haas, missed pass to Lopetti, doesn't work out, and Scotland look to have a little rumble from deep here. Kyle Rowe slicey kick. And Damian Schneider happy that advantage had accrued from the knock-on, so the USA can have another shot.
Yeah, USA will be keen to just build some time in Scotland's final quarter here. Just build a bit of pressure. They can ill afford to mismanage the game. The inaccuracy there of the ball driven across from Ruben de Haas to Viti Lopetti, just not accurate enough, not in front of the man, not generous enough to be able to allow him to hit the angle at pace. And from there, Scotland had the opportunity, didn't come to anything. Kyle Rowe's kick was off the side of the boot, but as you said, Jamie, the referee was comfortable that the advantage had been played. But for USA, this is just about trying to build confidence in possession of the ball. They're going to be facing an intensity of defence in around that tackle area and ruck that they're not used to. So they're going to have to learn fast, understand how they can look after possession and build that pressure on Scotland.
Ethan McNulty, fresh off the bench at hooker, doesn't hit his man, and Paddy Harrison, goodness me, he's got legs for a front rower. Toby Fricker has the pace, but not the accuracy. Harrison and McConnell towing it ahead. Storty to the rescue, and Basag touches it down and saves any North American blushes.
What about the wheels on Paddy Harrison there? He's shown that for Edinburgh over the last couple of seasons. Has some serious gas. Nuts and bolts of his game are pretty handy too. Carries the ball well. Really promising player coming through the ranks. A few quality hookers ahead of him. Ewan Ashman, George Turner's obviously back in the mix. But someone who's definitely got that, all the credentials, all the capabilities that you come to expect of modern hookers now, don't you? Just that ability. You look at the very best hookers in the world, the way they play the game, almost more like a hybrid between a centre and a back rower, really.
Here's Jack Dempsey with a 15-yard run-up, which tends to equal pain. Dobie, McConnell, Hastings got better of the pass to McDowell. Scotland looking for a 7th try as we tick towards the final 5 minutes of the first half. Scott Cummings, a British and Irish line in the summer, getting the attack flowing again. McDowell, the skipper, has his reverse lights flashing. Ethan McNulty, good shot. Dobie, lots of air on that kick, and he'll ask Ethan McNulty to throw in 10 yards from his own line.
Yeah, better defensive set from the USA. I think it was actually Ruben de Haas who shut the gate in the outside, cut off the pass from Stafford McDowell. Crucially on this occasion, the inside defence didn't switch off. They stayed engaged so that when Stafford McDowell stepped back into the defenders, they had men in front. Some interested onlookers there. On the Scotland bench, Grant Gilchrist, Rory Darge, and amongst them Pierre Schoeman.
Scotland have stolen the line out. Second in a row the USA have not got quite right. Dobie and Marshall Sykes, the enormous Edinburgh lock. Dobie again, Dempsey again. Just such a meter eater with ball in hand. Dobie and McDowell and Hastings zip on the pass from Rowe, volleyball style, and Graham scuffles in at the corner. Darcy Graham doubles up, the wings are going try for try, and Scotland have a 7th.
Yeah, look, we heard Lee Bradford talking just a little bit earlier, the USA scrum coach, just about that need to get time in the tackle, in their collisions, give them time, give themselves some time to get set and put some space in the wide channel for Scotland to pick them off.
So 45 points to 0. Darcy Graham still trailing Duan van der Merwe by a point, by a try rather.
Yeah, this is not so much about, there's nobody who can jam in outside, but their Fricker has committed, and Kyle Rowe knows that even if he can deflect the ball into the path of Darcy Graham's going to have the time to be able to gather it. That cover USA defence just cannot get there quick enough. It's another straightforward score for that try-scoring machine, Darcy Graham. And Scotland in real free flow here with just a couple of minutes to go to half-time. But boy, even then they'd like to get it going with 50 on the board.
It is now a record points tally for a first half performance from the Scots. 45 unanswered. Very little in the way of comfort for the USA to take from this half. Mind you, not many teams do come here and win. Scotland 13 from 18 at home, and really only the proper big dogs of World Rugby, Ireland, New Zealand, South Africa, coming here and turning Scotland over. But those still remain the blots on Gregor Townsend's coaching copybook. Never contended in the final round of a Six Nations, never won a Triple Crown, never beaten Ireland in his 8 years in charge. He reckons Scotland are in the best position ever since he took over in 2017. This month might tell us a bit more about that. Darcy Graham on a hat-trick. Helou reels him in. And then Tommaso Boni picks up the loose ball and sees space down the tram lines. Hastings and McDowell and Dobie all tracking back. Hastings throwing the dummy, trying to outfox Boni. Paddy Ryan takes him around the knees. Some long, lung-burning passages of play in this opening 40. High ball in playtime. And Jamie Dobie has to keep that in field. Ilsenbeck come a long way to claim it. Wilson, young McConnell leading the charge for Scotland. McNulty. Plays for 6 MLR teams, North American professional setup. De Haas, and then Davis leaves it behind. Sorry, John.
Sorry, Jamie. I was going to say, I think Lee Radford would be really happy with what he's seeing. The Scotland new defence coach. Yeah, the USA possibly haven't posed as much challenge as you would have hoped they would, but just look back at every single time they have the ball, 2 in the collision, and the whole pitch is filled with purple shirts. So really positive pictures from a Scottish defensive point of view. Just that ability to get a full wall of defenders in front of them, put time in the tackle, impact in the tackle, slow the ball down, but just 13, 14 men on your feet. Great pictures to have.
Yeah, Lee Radford's joining from Northampton Saints. He's doing both jobs for the time being, then he'll join Scotland full-time at the end of the season, replacing Steve Tandy, who had a very influential few years running the defensive side of things. He's now off to become the head coach of Wales. Lee Radford's Northampton, Prem champions 2024, most tackles, best tackle percentage, Champions Cup finalist last year as well. Serious coaching pedigree arriving north.
The ball is there, the ball is there.
Scotland on the hunt for 50 points in the final play of this first half. Dobie, Harrison, footwork before contact. Bamboozled Hillu. Dobie going wider. McDowell. This looks ominous. Hastings running the arc, dummying and spinning. The USA do enough to wrap him up.
Body's there. Body's there. Body's there. Last foot.
Dobie goes digging. Liam McConnell. How he'd love to mark his debut with a try. Dobie again. Forward pass to Hastings. Got the call.
And half-time.
But the pass drifts forwards. And a half-time whistle blasts around Scottish Gas Murrayfield. From a Scotland point of view, then it's a a blistering first half here at Scottish Gas Murrayfield. Scotland carried the ball 62 times in that first half. They scored 7 tries. It's in a Scotland jersey for 3 long years. November 2022 against Argentina, and Alex Samuel welcomes himself with a big cushioning chest from the opening kick of the second half. So the USA looking for their first points of the match, and they'll have to do it from a scrummage.
A pinball chest there, Jamie. I think it was the Alex Samuel just lifted up, and he is a huge man, lifted into the night skies, and that ball just rebounded off his chest. First touch of the evening for him. Will be nervy. Young man coming off the bench, wants to make a big impact. 22-year-old, and just his second outing since his debut last November, but great opportunity. That man in picture as well, Ross Thompson. Adam Hastings looked to have just picked up a little bit of a knock right on the half-time whistle. But great opportunity for these guys to come in. Gregor Townsend, I'm sure at half-time, will have emphasised the importance of this third quarter. Don't drop off the standards, don't drop off the intensity. Keep the energy high and remain clinical throughout. And I think for Scott Lawrence, John, I'd imagine he will have had some harsh words out there, but focus really on execution, both sides of the ball.
Yeah, you almost be interested to know what that half-time looked like, just as we ever look at Adam Hastings taking a knock, takes a knee to the back of the head, and that's what you see. Is just to look at his mouth guard there, the red flashing light. These new concussion mouth guards let the players know, the staff know, an alert would have gone off, let the medical team know that he needs to be assessed. So you hear a lot about these mouth guards, a lot about the technology. First time I've seen it in action there, Rory.
Same. How cool is that? That's so good. Player welfare right at the forefront of everything.
Here come the USA. Tommaso Boni equaling his Italian caps tally of 11 for the Eagles tonight. Jamie Dobie went in hunting for possession. Paddy Ryan from a standing start. Marshall Sykes quickly looming upon him. Redlinghase. Aha, slow ball. Lopetti, first half substitute for Eric Storty, starting fullback. De Haas and Ezekiel Lundemuth.
Same picture again from Scotland, 2 in the tackle. That USA attack just not managing to manipulate the Scotland defence, to try and create overlaps, to try and create mismatch at the moment. They're doing such a good job of just, even there, none in the tackle in the end, managed to recycle, get back into line. It's the consequence of that. Every time the USA look up, there's more purple shirts in front of them than their own.
Vili Helu caught well behind the gain line. USA back 20, 30 metres from where this attack commenced. Lindemuth uses his power.
Didn't lift the ball. Okay, 9, use it, please.
Scotland have been asked to attempt 55 tackles in this match. They have missed just 1 of them. And De Haas having to resort to the kick option. Rowe slipped that away beautifully. Darcy Graham off and scampering. Ollie Smith with him. Can they play the 1-2? Darcy Graham's in for a hat-trick. He's level with Duan van der Merwe again, but you get the sense there are plenty more chapters to be written as the two princes on the wing squabble for the try-scoring crown. 50 Scottish points at Murrayfield.
Yeah, it's brilliant stuff on the counter by Scotland. Look at this, Kyle Rowe climbs high and then manages to push that pass away just before Toby Fricker can get to him. Totally frees up Darcy Graham. Understands he's got Ollie Smith on the inside. De Haas is anchored in, and there it becomes a 2-on-1. And Chris Hilson-Beck suggests it might have gone forwards, but the referee doesn't want to know. Darcy Graham doesn't want to know. First try of the second half within 4 minutes.
You watch a top tier 1 nation side and that try doesn't get scored, because I think the role of De Haas there is the crucial one. When Darcy Graham makes that pass, a top tier organised side that understands how attack works takes him out of the game, and that might sound slightly cynical, but takes him out as he's making the pass. He then can't recycle himself to get back in and score that try there. So the detail just missing slightly from this USA side. But how good's this? The pop just before contact. Kyle Rowe's been in great form for Glasgow all year, but this there, he's got to get taken out by De Haas there. Passes early, smartly, but I just think another team, someone slightly more savvy, he's not getting back in the game there.
Well, we heard from Blake Bradford during the first half, didn't we? And just wanting the exposure to the tier 1 nations, because that's where the skill level is set apart. USA will play games on this tour whereby that will be a man and ball tackle on the fullback catching the ball. On this occasion, Rowe gets it away, and you can't afford to leave Darcy Graham in space. He'll have support, and they'll end up finishing off just like they did on that occasion.
Blue, come back.
Kyle Rowe soars to claim the up and under. He's had quite the career. Kyle Rowe was working in an Amazon warehouse in between contracts during the pandemic. Had his Scotland Sevens deal cut. Rediscovered himself at London Irish, and they went bust, and he did his knee. Or a contract at Glasgow, and he's not looked back since. Terrific member of that Scottish back three arsenal. Gregor Townsend's 95th Test match in charge of Scotland. He's being probed and prodded about his consultancy agreement with Red Bull. 30-day-a-year deal. And Scott Lawrence in the opposite coaching box, finalising his coaching staff for Rugby World Cup 2027. USA sealing qualification for that from the recent Pacific Nations Cup, beating Samoa. And Scott Lawrence makes that double change. On comes Peyton Tilea Ilalio and Makin Ali Khan into his forward pack. Redling Ace with the distinctive flowing locks. One of 7 players in this matchday 23 for the USA, currently unattached. Manu Redling Ace. MLR clubs going pop and bust by the season. A lot of players scrambling about to secure their long-term futures. Ross Thompson back in the Scotland jersey. McDowell and Rowe, a lot of gas out here. Graham almost left it behind, then found Ollie Smith. Wilson has his number. Graham in at scrum half. Liam McConnell, soft hands from the new man to Dylan Richardson. Into the big Hawaiian, Pono Davis.
Okay, release now, Blue, please.
Dobie. And Macbeth from Murphy Walker, both props in tandem. Dobie, the reverse pass into Graham. Trademark Darcy Graham, but lost possession, USA ball.
There's someone out there without a shirt on as well. It's not a streaker. He got his top taken off him by Murphy Walker, I think. And is he going to put it back on before the camera finds him?
It's Makin Ali Khan. He's only on the pitch about 30 seconds. Former Harlequin. Been in the wars in training this week as Big Makin. And that's about the biggest cheer that USA have managed to muster from Scottish Gas Murrayfield so far. Not quite tap-sap weather, is it, John?
It could be. Could be, depending where you are in the world.
There speaks a man who was in Mauritius last month.
Stop it.
McDowell laying the platform on Ollie Smith, lacerating the USA. McDowell another touch. Magnus Bradbury thumping fourth.
Good job,
Dobie.
mate. Thank you.
Van der Merwe, Graham, the wings linking, but Van der Merwe's pass forwards.
Now the same player, McKean Ali Khan, has got involved in another scuffle at the other end of the pitch.
They like his confrontational streak in the Eagles camp, McKean Ali Khan.
Okay.
3 games for Harlequins in the Prem Cup.
Boys.
Not afraid to put cat amongst pigeons.
Boys.
He's only just put his shirt on, he's in danger of having it ripped off again.
Okay, time off. Cut time. Sorry, the 20.
Just apologies for any of the industrial language you might have heard over the referee's mic.
20.
And everybody inside Murrayfield can have a listen to Damian Schneider's admonishment.
Where's 20? Me, please. Boys. I got nothing left. Boys, we have been playing a great game of rugby. That is unacceptable. After the whistle, we stop playing. Okay, you understood?
No.
Thank you so much. Thank you. We play the forward
Handshake
pass.
from McDowell and Ali Khan, who's certainly not backwards in coming forwards. Just been emptied off the bench. Reminder.
I've got a funny feeling that McKean Ali Khan has been given a message to go on and ruffle some feathers in this second half. I don't think Scott Lawrence will have been happy with the way his side combated in that first half, and they just need to find some edge. They need to try and get under the skin of Scotland to just try and find some way into this game.
One of you, elbow up. I spoke you already. Change behavior, I will sanction, okay? Let's go, quick reset.
Last time the USA failed to score in a match was Rugby World Cup 2015 against the mighty Springboks, reeling as they were from a miracle of Brighton, losing to Japan. 10 years since they have been staring at a big fat nothing on the scoreboard. Half an hour to change that ugly picture, to register something at the home of Scottish rugby. They won't be defined by nights like this, the USA. They will grow and learn from what is a chastening but in many ways exhilarating experience to pit themselves against the Six Nations team. That pass looks forward and is from Hilsenbeck, but bigger challenges for Scotland, of course, bigger challenges for the USA too. Georgia in Batumi in 7 days' time, then Romania and Bucharest. Those are the games they'll be targeting. And Max Williamson, who really has come of age as a Scotland lock, an international player of some pedigree, the 23-year-olds coming on in the Scottish engine room for Marshall Sykes. Terrific young player, Max Williamson. You'd imagine he'll have a part to play against the All Blacks. And there will be no further tries for Darcy Graham. Just have a look at those numbers, though. A warm ripple of applause for one of Murrayfield's fondest sons. George Horner at scrum half. Jamie Dobie shifts out to the wing.
A tremendous 50 minutes. And Darcy Graham's return to Scottish Gas Murrayfield here. The hat-trick, big smile on his face.
Hold your weight.
He's given a few assists, he's scored a few himself. He's been all over the field. He'll be delighted with the work this afternoon. Gregor Townsend will be delighted to be able to substitute him and give George Horn some time at scrum half. Jamie Dobie slot onto that right wing. But I tell you what, the person purring most at the moment will be Lee Radford, international defence coach, currently 0 on the scoreboard. The big donut, he'll be desperate that continues. One missed tackle across 64 tackles in total. But that last USA attack was
overextended,
indicative as to how they have struggled to challenge Scotland's defence. They're doing an awful lot in front of the defensive line before they've committed defenders onto it, and as a result, Scotland can drift off. They can end up just with these one-on-one tackles, and Scotland win the collisions more often than not. 0 clean breaks so far this afternoon for the USA team, and that man in picture, Lee Radford, will be delighted.
Bradbury wins the line out for Scotland. On the hunt for a 9th try. George Horn, eyes lit up. McDowell. Thompson throwing the dummy, but Tommaso Boni and Davide Lopetti there to stop him. Horn. Richardson, who started the try scoring with just 4 minutes on the clock, right back at the start of this match. Horn darting away, and McConnell whacking into contact.
No, there was momentum.
Alex Samuel. His nickname at Glasgow Warriors is knees and elbows. 6'9", those are the bony bits that hit you first. George Horn takes the quick tap. McConnell heading for the corner. Wilson throws him down. Fricker in support. Dobie in at scrum half this time. Richardson crabbing his way in field. Paddy Ryan drags him back. Max Williamson, the young beast of Scotstoun. Jason Dam over the ball. Big stop from the USA captain.
And that's the first time in the match where 50-odd minutes in, 53 minutes in, where USA have managed to get some pressure in the breakdown. It's actually a pretty good carry by Max Williamson, who, I totally agree with you, Jamie. I think he is absolutely the future in that boiler house for Scotland. Him and Gregor Brown, two industrious, big, physical, abrasive second rows. Carries actually beats the first tackle. The issue comes a little bit. Nathan Macbeth misses that clean out. Maybe Murphy Walker, sorry, misses the clean out. Jason Dam does a good job for a big man to get down and put some pressure on the breakdown.
John, I think most of the positions for the New Zealand game here next week, from a Scottish point of view, are settled or nailed down as we get a look at Luke Carter coming on at 10 for the USA. Who's your second row pairing? What's your back row?
Second row, Scott Cummings is going to play. I would have Gregor Brown in there. I think he is. I'd certainly have him in my team, whether he plays in the back row. But I think, having seen Jack Dempsey, not just this evening, but last week in a man of the match performance for Glasgow against the Bulls, and Matt Fagerson's in tremendous form as well. So the question mark will be, is Rory Darge fit? If he's fit, he'll play. So I think I answered your question there.
You named about 7 players, John, but I'm not sure you got to any selections.
Here's McDowell again, floating it to Dobie. Van Merwe hunting on the inside. That's where it's going. Horn, quick ball, the benefit of having those 2 scrum halves on the pitch at the one time.
No.
Bradbury's thrusting run. Richardson takes it on again, his 8th carry of the night. Horn, Thompson, air on that pass which allowed Basag to come up and halt Stafford McDowell, big cattle farmer from Dumfries in southwest Scotland. Williamson, who honed his craft on loan at Doncaster Knights a couple of years ago. Knock-on advantage for Scotland. Kyle Rowe from a standing start, using his sevens pedigree to plot a route through the heavies. Horn, Van Merwe came inside, and then Ali Khan
That was too forward,
thumped the smaller man.
Knock on.
Scottish put in at the scrum.
It just lost a little bit of rhythm, which is natural given the changes that have been made, and also the scoreboard pressure that Scotland created in that first half. USA have definitely cranked things up a little bit. There was a confidence-building defensive set there that Dom Basag in particular in the 13 jersey. You mentioned it, Jamie, that ball in the air time allowed him to blitz up. Voice again, but naturally both sides now making changes, refreshing the bench, and Niuafe, another big lump to come on in that front row.
Have a look at this attacking setup, Rory. What are you seeing in the way that Scotland are setting up?
Well, your 2 players behind the scrum, Ross Thompson and Kyle Rowe, gives you options both sides, and you typically go with the wheel, mainly because it takes the back row defender off the scrum on that side. It takes them a metre or so away. Naturally, the wheel that Scotland goes, and by wheel I mean the near side prop could go up and they'd come to the left-hand side. As it is, they've got square, they can choose both ways, so whichever way Ross Thompson sees the opportunity.
Fast, slick hands from Scotland. Dobie against Wilson, puts on the burners and finds Kyle Rowe, who backs another. Jamie Dobie's versatility and lethal rugby instincts to the fore. And Kyle Rowe gets off the mark with his Quilter Nation series.
George Horn picking and going from the base of the scrum in the first instance. It was fairly square in the end, so the call comes from behind George Horn. Ross Thompson sweeps to that right-hand side, and you're right, Jamie. There you go, George Horn out the back there. Quick hands by Ross Thompson, quick hands by Rowe, and then Rowe gets on his bike to get on the inside of Jamie Dobie. As it was Mitch Wilson was concerned about Dobie going on the outside. He leaves his inside exposed, knowing that the tackler will be there, but the hands get clear. Jamie Dobie gets the offload away, and Kyle Rowe does enough to get over and dot down.
Yeah, it's really well worked, but just like that last try, you think Kyle Rowe makes the assist to Jamie Dobie, but then he manages to get back into play to actually support it. These are the little lessons that USA, you hope, will learn from this, where someone's involved in that collision, they've got to be taken out of the game. But Jamie Dobie does so well. That's something I spoke about earlier, his versatility. And it's not just someone who can fit in on the wing. His work in the air, he can quite feasibly start on the wing. His work in the air, his contact skills, he's so physical in defence, really has got a lot to offer.
John, it feels like we're in a familiar position with Scotland. The personnel is settled. We know week to week who's going to be playing, and certainly the Tier 1 internationals, the like of which we have here next week. Gregor Townsend signed a new deal. There'll be some fans who are thinking, if nothing's changed, is anything going to change in terms of results? Have Scotland slammed their head against the ceiling one too many times?
Oh, the one thing that has changed is they got another year's experience, and 12 players went away on a British and Irish Lions tour and got that additional experience. So whether that's given them a psychological boost, I know Darcy Graham spoke early in the week a little bit about just the learnings of being day in, day out with some of the Irish and English guys and realizing that their habits aren't entirely different. So I think they'll take a lot from that. They'll also take a lot from the pressure and realization of the opportunity that sits in front of them. There's a very motivated group that sits there who's determined to do well, and they also understand that doing well means competing well in the Six Nations and being near the top of the table on the final weekend.
George Horn gets it back from Duan van der Merwe. Billy Hill, who's put in a power of work chasing him down, but it comes to naught for the USA as McConnell always pinwheeled his way through. The young buck off on a stampede. Offload doesn't quite come off this time, or George Horn was under the sticks. And how about that? A worldie from Lopetti. Wilson making tracks inside to De Haas, and Helu loses it. Backward, says the referee. Still USA possession. Can they get the try they crave? A lot of blue off to the left. Carty sticks it on the laces. Fricker's lost it, and now McDowell's throwing it ahead. This is bonkers.
Keep going, lads.
Oh, don't let it stop.
There were some tired bodies there getting back to. I would have loved to see that foot race with Stafford McDowell having gone one end to the other. But what about that? That's the offload of the day. What an offload from Lopetti out the back. The full 360 out the left arm, round the back. Unbelievable piece of skill. And this is actually a fantastic kick from Carty as well, right on the money. Fricker's got to take that, but Dobie's right in his face, actually does everything right. The timing is actually perfect as he catches it, takes man and ball.
The chance was off the Mitch Wilson, the recipient of that pass from Tavite Lopetti. They had that opportunity, quick hands over the top, and Billy Helu was there. I think the 3 minutes of work he had put in beforehand meant his legs were heavy. Maybe his brain just wasn't quite as sharp and anticipating that final offload, but that was the best opportunity, best piece of play by the visiting side all evening. It was brilliant stuff, sparked by Tavite Lopetti.
Here's McDowell, captaining Scotland the second time in a capped international tonight.
Okay, that's good. Last foot, last foot. Nice, nice. Thank you. You need to be last foot.
Just wonder as well who's going to partner Sione Tuipulotu in that midfield next weekend. Stafford McDowell, traditionally a 12, so too Tuipulotu. Hugh Jones is going to be missing for this entire November window. What's your midfield for the All Blacks, Rory? Who partners the Scotland captain?
Yeah, it's a good.
But you know what? Hold that thought. We'll talk about Sione later. He's got lots of attention. Let's give Harry Morris his time in the sun. From Stockport to Scotland, 24 years of age, a young hooker built like a bull. He's a powerful specimen. His ambition and all his graft rewarded with a first Scotland cap. Played only 600 minutes of professional rugby, Harry Morris. Now he gets his chance to hit the big time. Funnemerva hammers down, great tackle, Don Basag. And a foot in touch on this near side. Right, let's go back to the midfield, Rory. Sione plus who for you?
It's a really good question, Jamie. For me, I think Rory Hutchinson's shown up incredibly well for the Northampton Saints in the Prem so far this season. He would be a bit of a wild card, I think, for Gregor Townsend. Tom Jordan, could he slot into the midfield as an option? Stafford McDowell's shown up incredibly well this evening, but if it's Stafford McDowell and a Sione Tuipulotu, one of them is arguably going to be playing out of position. So it's whether you go for the familiarity of that Glasgow combination, or potentially with one of the form players in the Premiership, in that 13 jersey, Rory Hutchinson.
Rory, you named about 6 players there.
2, John, and I...
Oh, have a look at Liam McConnell. He's smiting players again. Horns with him. McConnell throws the dummy on his debut. Just can't get there. Still Scotland recycle. Liam McConnell's hungry for that first try. Perhaps a bit of white line fever, but who can blame him? 57 points up on his first start for his country.
Yes, a great break. His third of the day, actually rides the tackle, gets through. I dare say in a game where it's not going to count for anything, when he watches this back in the team room, I suspect George Horne might have a few words to say to him. Why didn't you give that?
Liam McConnell has had a meteoric rise, playing semi-pro rugby at just 17 years of age. Raised by his dad Keith, who's a tough man. He played club rugby with Gregor Townsend back in the 90s. He was a builder, a bouncer. He will be absolutely bursting with pride at seeing his boy doing things like this.
He's been absolutely tremendous. We saw a similar break down the left flank early on in the audacious basketball offload to Duhan van der Merwe. On that occasion, just backed himself. George Horne may have had a running off the back of it if he'd just drawn and passed, but there was a bit of desperate USA defence in the cover, but he has had an exceptional evening. Such a special evening for him, debuting for Scotland.
Funnemerva takes it on the swivel. Richardson. Here's Max Williamson.
The ball is there, the ball is there. Ball is there.
45 first half points for Scotland, just the 12 thereafter as we enter the final 15 minutes of this Quilter Nation Series opener for the Scots and the United States. Richardson and Thompson and Smith, pink jerseys everywhere. A tapestry of pink being woven through the USA. McConnell on the edge. American hand coming in there. Macbeth popped it up, but only as far as Basag, who's given Wilson something to chase. Kyle Rowe retreating. Dobie on his insides. Burning away from Wilson. Soft shoulders to target here for Kyle Rowe. Hillu and the Haas deal with him. Max Williamson. Not a lot going on outside him. Horne. Oh, the kick's charged by Jason Dam, and the USA have it back. Not for long. Scrabble back on the deck by Scotland, and then holding on. Jason Dam had a couple of nibbles at that after Ollie Smith pawed it back.
This is where I think Gregor Townsend will be really keen for this Scotland team, just to keep the tempo of the game high. You can see some really tired USA bodies out on the pitch. Yeah, there's some tired Scotland players as well, but just be demanding of the standards that they set themselves. Keep attacking, keep putting pressure, keep being accurate with it, because it has dropped off slightly in this second half, which, like you said, Roy, inevitably happens for one reason or another, where you go into half-time, there's no jeopardy for either side really, and how you maintain those really high standards that they set in the first half. It is challenging, but with 15 minutes to play, there would be the messages going on.
Got a little glimpse of Nick Easter there, familiar face, USA defence coach, former England number 8, key lieutenant of Scott Lawrence. As Scotland pursue more points, and have a look at the pace on the inside. Van der Merwe hunting down Dom Bassag, who's done a power of work in covering. Scotland coming through the middle, ball chiselled loose. The USA recover.
Okay, 9 usage. Stay.
Carty in the pocket, younger brother of Connacht and Ireland's Jack Carty. Finds touch, but not too far from his own line.
Time off.
Just look at the kick chase there, the desperation by Duhan. It's been a little while since he's had a really meaningful engagement in the game with his ball in hand, but there, just the desperation on that chase, the pace, the pressure that he managed to put on the back three, and then from there, Scotland's field position.
Morris to Samuel, first cap to second cap, and they work the blindside manoeuvre, almost an interception for Ruben de Haas, who read that well.
Both hands, eh? Yeah. It's going with both hands. It's option.
I think front peels should be banned.
With both hands.
They should be banned
Option.
from rugby.
Yeah. Scrum.
Thoughts?
I concur.
I quite like them, actually. No, I'm joking. Have a look at those numbers, boys. 15 line breaks to 1. Lee Radford's defence finally breached by a solitary line break, but Scotland will be very happy with the first outing under the new defensive skipper.
They will, and the challenge in debriefing a game like this is, without being disrespectful to the USA, where are the real positives? You know, USA haven't provided a huge challenge defensively, so where are the real positives? For me, it's looking at the form of Darcy Graham, the form of Jamie Dobie, Dempsey in particular, the likes of McConnell and a few other guys getting first caps. They're the real positives to me this evening.
Go 9. Okay, you sit. Both side down. You sit.
George Horne excavates the ball from the scrum, and Stafford McDowell again using his 6'4", 105-kilogram frame. Horne jerking back to the near side, and then Dobie off his wing where he's moonlighting again. Horne and McDowell again. Nathan Macbeth digs it out. Murphy Walker, the two props combining. Horne again, Williamson again. Scotland, by a process of attrition and erosion, bashing away at this USA defence. Ollie Smith with the step. Horne changing the point of that attack. Nathan Macbeth has a crack. USA offside. Thompson chinking to within 5 metres.
Ball is there.
McConnell, how much this young man has given, how desperate he is to cross the white line tonight.
Yes, he's moving. He's moving.
Macbeth levers Redling Ace out of the way and steals a couple of metres. Horne, he comes swinging around to the left. Smith, up went Tommaso Boni. Call
Clear
is
10 to intercept.
knock on.
Goes offside first.
And back we go for the offside penalty.
You have the number, mate?
I wouldn't think you're going to go for a tap move here or maybe take the scrum. Just looking at that attack there, it's indicative of the last 5-10 minutes, just losing their shape, losing their structure that was so good in that first half. They're going for the tap move. What they got this sleeve? Well, just let's go route one.
Horne, McConnell, neat hands, Thompson, and in they go. And it's Stafford McDowell, the captain who's been everywhere tonight. 11 carries, 64 metres, and he marks a big shift at the coalface with an impressive finish.
At the line, Scotland have chosen the right one 9 times out of 10.
He's so dependable, isn't he? You know, he's led this side tonight. He's a very, very strong leader. Remember Al Kellick, former MD and now in the performance team at Scottish Rugby, talking about his importance within that Glasgow squad, even well before his time, a number of years ago.
Capital to cheer tonight. USA have been forced into another change, head injury assessment for talented young Dom Basag. Ethan McVeigh, scrum half by trade, has come on in jersey 21, bottom of your picture. This tempo and verve, very familiar for Scotland. They've got the fastest ruck speed in the Six Nations. Most defenders beaten, most offloads, most carries, most meters in that top competition. It's the punch up front they've been missing at times. Here's more of the elan. Smith on the inside, couldn't find Horn. Intelligent, reads an interception from Makin Ali Khan.
No one on top. You're off your
Liam McConnell, a little bit of first cap exuberance ordered off it. And then Paddy Ryan bringing it away. De Haas, McVeigh, first touch on the bounce. And he sends Duhan van der Merwe backpedaling. What has Duhan got up his sleeve here? Usually worth the wait. Off he goes. Weak tackling. Duhan van der Merwe. Kyle Rowe against Fricker. Draw, pass, try. George Horn, as ever, on the shoulder, sniffing out the try line like a bloodhound. And Scott.
Match was a few years ago. I wouldn't have been surprised to see Duhan link play, really selfless play, and even more so from Kyle Rowe. 100% could have scored that himself, but does the unselfish thing, puts in George Horn to get under the sticks.
Duhan van der Merwe chasing a hat-trick tonight. Darcy Graham 3 tries, van der Merwe 2. They are now locked at 34 tries apiece atop the Scottish try-scoring standings. George Horn, Glasgow's record try-scorer now.
Yeah, and there have been a number of contenders for this evening's quoted player of the match. There are 4 of them. Duhan van der Merwe is not on that. He's right in the mix. Jamie Dobby, both at scrum half and on the wing, been excellent. Darcy Graham, a hat-trick, and Kyle Rowe there. He has been a sister on a number of occasions and has been absolutely excellent. So all in the frame.
Duhan van der Merwe leading the charge for Scotland. Wilson got hands to it first. Ollie Smith knocks it on. De Haas. Intelligent kick that from the scrum half. And that is a 50-22.
Yeah, really good kick. Doesn't get the 50-22, but game understanding, game sense there. Understood where the space was, then the execution. Just interesting, Roy, to see Scotland in the first half with Dobie there, kicking long from their exits. You saw the change they got out of it. Even if they didn't get the ball back, they're defending in USA half, but last 10-15 minutes going for the contestable kicks out there, 22. Any thoughts on that?
I actually think it is a 50-22 in the end, and I actually think Jamie Dobby's kicking skills are a level above where George Horn's are. I think his range of kicking, he's got that much more distance, which allows the kick chase to get into the opposition half. I think George Horn, incredibly good kicker. He's good kicker off the tee, good kicker for contestables, but I think that's just another string to Jamie Dobby's bow that maybe just gives him the edge when it comes to Gregor Townsend's selections, probably for next week.
Mangalia wins for the USA. And then Ethan McNulty. De Haas. And Tilea Ilalio, San Francisco tight head prop, taking on all comers.
Hands past the ball.
Haas takes the quick tap. Boney calling for it. 1 on 4 here. Boney, oh, the offload doesn't stick. Doesn't stick, and it's a penalty as well because Boney's played it from an offside position. Just hasn't happened for the Eagles in Edinburgh.
Mark here.
Right, Rory Lawson, we've had a spool through the contenders. It is time for you to issue your judgment. Who is your Quilter player of the match tonight?
Well, the cameraman is on this. That man in picture there, Jamie Dobby, has had an took leave after 50 minutes, but he has been absolutely exceptional. Nearly 100 metres made from just 8 carries. His kicking game was excellent. Greg Laidlaw name-referenced him as being one of the contenders and one of the people he's had an eye on.
And here he is, right on cue. Dobby for the corner, for the treble. The player of the match scribes a big fat exclamation mark on a virtuoso performance. Doesn't matter where he plays. Who cares what number's on his back? Jamie Dobby, fast becoming a world-class player.
Yeah, ability for Ross Thompson. He gets the ball here just to straighten up again. Straightens up just there. The wheels here, but that piece of skill from Ross Thompson, and we've seen Duhan van der Merwe again as the assister. Normally we associate him as the try scorer, but we've seen tonight that extra layer to his game with the assist.
So a hat-trick for Jamie Dobby, a hat-trick for the now replaced Darcy Graham, a couple for Duhan van der Merwe, a dozen tries for Scotland, and 78 points.
Brilliantly done by Duhan to get his hands free, and then Kyle Rowe again unselfishly. But Jamie Dobby, he's gone. And outgassed the covering defence there to score his 3rd of the evening. It'll be a memorable evening for Jamie Dobby. John, you referenced his physicality. He stood out defensively as well, highlighting Lee Radford and his mindset when it comes to effort in and around the tackle, whether the first effort or secondary effort, and he's just been absolutely exceptional in a strong Scotland performance tonight.
Final minute of the 80. USA still without a point on the scoreboard to show for all their graft, all their toil. They've missed 37 tackles tonight, the Eagles, out of 106 to show for all their graft, all their toil. They've missed 37 tackles tonight, the Eagles, out of 167. Fricker will gamble with the kick. Scotland crowd him out. McDowell closing the door. 30 seconds left. Kyle Rowe taking on Redling Ace, finding van der Merwe. Fancy a one-on-one against McVeigh, but the smaller man holds on really well. Morris. Horn. Thompson to the wide outside, looking for Magnus Bradbury, who's working his way off the touchline. Flipping inside to Jamie Dobby, who might fancy a 4th here. Dobby, what dexterity, what accuracy. Gets the pick-up as well into the bargain. Clock is now red inside the stadium. Max Williamson spearing into the 22. Last play of the match. Thompson pulling it. Smith, he's yet to score tonight, but that's about to change. Scotland irrepressible from first minute to last.
Jamie Dobby, the player of the match, right at the heart of it again with the poke through, manages to regather it, but Scotland, as we've said throughout the game, with lots of options, choose the ball out of the back because of the damage done up front. Ollie Smith, who's had a really strong game as well. Really tough 13, 14 months with him for injury. Back to his best with Glasgow, and he'd be delighted to get on the try-scoring sheet for Scotland.
In the long and illustrious history of Rugby Football Union.